Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm super. How are you?
I'm doing good. My beautiful wife's sitting next to me. How could I be anything but awesome, right? Just saying. Coming up later on the program, I'm going to be visiting with Michael Foster, and I have in my notes here, it says, putting lipstick on a pig. I'm not exactly sure. I should probably dig through and see what that means. Are we going to be putting lipstick on a pig together? I think he's an author, and he has something about a book, but I guess we'll find out later in the program. 71% of Glamour magazine readers say celebrities should not run for political office. Do you agree with that, Heidi?
I think it would depend on the person.
I think so, too, because there are some celebrities that are actually very smart and very, they would be good political people. I would like to encourage them to run for office. Now,
but there are several that definitely
should
should not.
Exactly. So I think it really depends on the celebrity. But I suppose if they're in Glamour magazine, they're probably talking more about the train wrecks, aren't they? Yeah, Don't they like to, talk bad about people? I just see them at the checkout counter. I don't really read
Glamour magazine?
Yeah.
No, Glamour is a ladies' magazine, like about makeup and style.
Oh, well, see, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. Hey, let's change the subject quick. Recent study found watching television burns 93 calories an hour, Heidi.
Well, there you go.
I'm exercising after all. All right, we're going to tell you how Tetris can be good for you. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Do you remember the video game Tetris?
Vaguely. I never really played it.
I loved that. I absolutely loved it. It was where you had these different shapes. You had to put them together, and then the thing would keep going down, and if you got it completely done, then you win. The game was actually invented in Russia, and I watched a TV show, like a whole episode of this show, about finding Tetris. And it was a fascinating thing. This is during the Cold War, and this guy went over to Russia to get the rights to this game, and it was an amazing thing that they were able to even make this happen. But now, this is really cool. Did you know that playing the game Tetris after a traumatic experience has been proven to help wipe bad memories and prevent flashbacks?
Really?
So if you go through something traumatic, before you do anything else, you should start playing the game Tetris. That's what they're saying. I don't know about before anything else. You might want to, bandage up the wounds first. But then after that, start playing the game Tetris because it'll help to wipe bad memories and prevent flashbacks.
I wonder if they utilize that for our veterans.
I hope so. I just think that's a cool thing. So there you go. Coming up, a rabbit saves the lives of 2 people. True story on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Heidi, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A rabbit saves the lives of 2 people. This was in Port Byron, Illinois. Ed Murphy, not Eddie Murphy, the star, but a guy named Ed Murphy, says his $10 pet rabbit saved the life of his pregnant wife. It says here, apparently one night the little bunny was being unusually noisy, began banging and jumping up and down in the cage. He tried to ignore it, even pulled the pillow over the put a pillow around the cage, there you go, to act as a noise buffer, but the furry friend would not let them go back to sleep. That's when he noticed his pregnant wife, who he thought was sleeping, was in fact very much in trouble. Her eyes were wide open and glazed over. He called 911. The doctors determined that she had gestational diabetes and was in a hypoglycemic coma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she stayed in the hospital for 5 days, but is going to be just fine thanks to that noisy bunny. That bunny saved her life and the life of the baby that was inside of her.
Wow.
So, how cool is that? So I wonder what the deal was.
I wonder if
the
the rabbit was just being rambunctious or if it instinctively knew that something was wrong and was trying to alert somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's really cool. I've never heard of a rabbit going nuts in their cage before, so it's not like it's in the news often. So if this kind of thing does happen, it certainly doesn't make it through the news, at least not the news that I'm watching.
Well, why would there be news about bunnies being loud in their cage?
Just saying. This seems very unusual to me. That sounds like something you'd talk about. But I think it's funny that he tried to put the pillow over the cage. Now, when I was reading that, it caught me off guard because I would have put the pillow over my own head. He was trying to protect everybody.
He was trying to smother the
smothering a bunny, but it didn't quite work. Well, it's really cool. And you know that story is true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. It's not my fault, officer. I'm going to blame it on Jack Daniels. Take a listen to this. In Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Sheboygan, Wisconsin. 23-year-old Ian A. Baker is facing his fourth drunken driving charge after he failed a breathalyzer test, but he says this time it's not his fault. You know whose fault it is?
Whose fault?
It's Jack Daniels' fault for making delicious steak sauces. Yeah, he says, I wasn't even drinking.
Whatever.
I was eating a steak with some Jack Daniels steak sauce. He swears he didn't consume any alcohol. Just had Jack Daniels steak sauce.
Oh, my gosh. That is ridiculous.
Well, he must have had a lot of it. Blood alcohol, 0.07, made it the police officer think otherwise. Sadly for Mr. Ian, Jack Daniels' website clearly states their trademark Jack Daniels barbecue steaks and barbecue sauces and steak sauces are made by Heinz, and they contain 0 alcohol.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They're just using their name. They came up with a tangy flavor that kind of has a Jack Daniels flavor, but no alcohol whatsoever. So, yes, my friend, you are going to jail. Coming up, your moment of duh.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
So, what would happen if you tried to forge a $1 bill? Oh, 2 men were charged with first-degree forgery of government-issued money, first-degree possession of forged instruments, and possession of forgery devices. All felonies. Police were called to a Home Depot when a security guard alerted officers that somebody had paid for a $7 six-pack of light bulbs with bills that appeared to be phony. They were leaving in a red Chevrolet. He says, I don't think I've ever seen a counterfeit $1 bill.
Why would you buy
I don't know. Alan Armstrong said yes, the men had counterfeited, among other things, $1 bills. Penalty for passing forged bills is the same whether the value of the bill is $1 or $1 million. You get 15 years in prison and a $15,000 fine either way. So they got a $15,000 fine.
Hardly seems worth it.
15 years in prison for making fake $1 bills. You know how else you can get $1 bills? Get a job. I mean, just do that. That'll work a whole lot better. Your scoop of the day is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. The United Kingdom is the first country in the world to allow the creation of a baby from the DNA of 3 parents. That's interesting. The move, which was approved in law earlier this year, started a few weeks back. Despite the concerns from several groups, the procedure involves the replacement of a small part of the mother's DNA with that of a donor, so certain genetic health conditions are not passed from the mother to the child. Now, this would mean that the baby would have DNA from mom and another woman and dad. So it would have 3 different people's DNA.
So this is just so the baby won't get
That's what they're saying, yeah.
some sort of a disease?
They're saying that it's if mom has a certain disease, they're trying to mix up a new concoction and say, hey, here's a way to do that.
I think that's a bad idea, don't you think? I mean, that's kind of us playing God.
I'm not for this, so if that's your cup of tea, I guess that's your thing. At a conference in Vienna, European scientists said reductions in air pollution are allowing more sunlight through and increasing global warming. So they're saying reduction in pollution is causing global warming. But before, wasn't it the pollution that was causing global warming?
I think we just let the world be.
I just think it's funny how these scientists get together. They go, well, too much pollution is causing global warming. Then they get together a year later. They're like, well, the pollution's down. It's getting worse. You know why? Not enough pollution is causing global warming. Wait a minute, Poindexter. Didn't you just say too much was causing it? Get out of here. All right. More parents watch violent or sexual content. The more that parents watch violent or sexual content, the more likely they would be to allow their children to watch that at a younger age. Researchers were surprised at how quickly parents became completely desensitized to violence and sex after watching only a few scenes from a PG-13 or rated R film. So they're saying that so many times the parents are watching it, they don't even realize that they probably shouldn't be letting their kids watch it, but they do. Movember. Have you ever heard of Movember, Heidi?
No.
It's where you're supposed to grow a mustache or a beard.
Okay.
Not you.
I didn't
men.
know that's what it was called.
Yeah.
But
During November every year, Movember campaign is responsible for the sprouting of mustaches on thousands of men's faces. With their mows, the men raise awareness and funds for men's health issues, specifically prostate and testicular cancer initiatives. So, if you see somebody growing a mustache this month, that's what it's all about. Either that or they just decided they wanted to grow a mustache.
yeah, I've never liked mustaches.
I know. I have a mustache, but it's attached to a goatee.
You have a goatee. You don't
So-
have a mustache.
No, there's a mustache
You look
attached.
ridiculous with
I
a
tried.
mustache.
I tried last November, actually. Shaved off the bottom of my goatee. I was going to see if anybody would notice.
It was
like
awful.
4 seconds later, I walk out of the bathroom and Heidi's like, "Get back in there and shave that thing." I'm not going to be seen in public with you. Okay. Ask anyone coming down from the high of too many cups of coffee, and they'll tell you they get headaches from caffeine withdrawals. I've done it. So much so that psychiatrists, the DSM-5, they've named a caffeine withdrawal. They actually have an actual mental disorder, DSM-5. So what exactly qualifies caffeine withdrawals as a mental disorder? It's more than a splitting headache and irritability. Caffeine withdrawals, I'm struggling to say this, ain't I?
You are.
Caffeine withdrawals become a mental illness when it gets to the point that it actually interferes with your daily life. Now, I've never gotten to the point where it's interfered with my daily life because here's what I've done. I've just gone and had another cup of coffee.
It actually is. There were some girls that I went to high school with that both had doctor's notes
Yeah.
for Mountain Dew.
Really?
They could keep Mountain Dew in their locker because they would get such
Wow.
bad headaches and
there you
the
go.
shakes and everything if they didn't have it.
Well, keep on moving here. Police arrested a 19-year-old in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, for attempted theft at a glue factory. The suspect did not resist. He knocked over 2 large cans of glue and glued himself to the factory floor. No rush. He ain't going nowhere. All right, our strange law. Many people use their garage as a catch-all storage facility. In fact, many people don't even park their vehicles in the garage. However, in Long Beach, California, it is against the law to have any item other than your car in your garage. I could not live there. My garage
Oh
is
my
full of
gosh, no,
others.
you could not
I can
live
fit
there.
a couple of cars in our 3-car garage. Anyway, that's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. I've got a special guest on the line right now, and this is actually kind of fun because every day we talk about stories of people doing silly things and dumb things and sometimes downright criminal things. And usually the furthest we get is we read the story, we talk about it, we comment about it, and then we kind of forget about it. Well, not today, because I actually get to visit with an attorney who was a part of a very interesting case. And right now we're going to be joining that attorney, or he's going to be joining us on the phone right now. We have litigation expert Michael Foster joining us. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm terrific, John. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, we're excited to have you on the program. Now, let's talk about the case that we're going to be visiting about here. Give us a snapshot of what happened.
Sure, very quickly. I have a colleague down here. Her name is Michelle Thomas, and she's a terrific probate lawyer, and she was handling a case on behalf of our client, a lady by the name of Rosalie Skinner. And Ms. Skinner was supposed to be the recipient of a substantial estate, and a guy by the name of Andrew Osipka kind of weaseled his way in, forgive me for using that expression, and convinced the brother of Ms. Skinner to instead transfer his assets to a charitable foundation, which was really a charity in name only. And then that charitable foundation declared bankruptcy to kind of hide out from the probate case, and that's when I got involved.
So this guy set up a charitable foundation that hadn't really done any charity, just really to kind of get the money from this dying wealthy person. And did he ever do anything that was charitable with any of the money?
That's a fantastic question, and you know what we said in our papers and what in fact is the case is that this foundation had no employees, no operations, and no creditors, and really except for the folks that had set the foundation up, which unfortunately were some lawyers down here, and then of course this clerk himself. So no, and that's really kind of the heart of the issue for us. That's why we moved to dismiss it. We called it what is a bad faith filing.
And the thing that makes this case kind of fun is the judge kind of saw through this pretty quickly, and at one point in the case even talked about something to do with lipstick on a pig. I'll let you tell about that.
Yeah, this is a great judge down here. His name is John Olson, and he's known for having kind of an exciting turn of phrase, and he's somebody who's not going to be swayed by the quality of the lawyering, but he's really going to look at the merits, and I think, you know, that should really make your listeners feel good about the system. It does work once in a while, and so I'll just I'll go to Judge Olson's opinion here, and he said about halfway through, and I'm quoting, that the need for sophisticated professionals of this caliber, and now he's referring to the debtor there, that foundation, and he says, of this caliber for a, quote, business is not apparent. Indeed, this debtor appears to need, professionals of this high level of sophistication about as much as a fish needs a bicycle. And then he said, so why are we here? And he said, it appears that these professionals have been retained to make this case look like a real Chapter 11 bankruptcy case, but no matter how much makeup and fancy ribbons you put on a pig, it's still a pig. And you know, people for years have been saying that about me when I get dressed up, John, and it was nice to hear somebody else turn that expression on, in this case, the bad actors.
Well, and it's really cool that you guys were there for the sister in this whole case, the disinherited sister, who seems now likely to recover much of the estate. Is there money left, or is there something left of what was inherited?
There is, and that's why we were fighting so aggressively in the bankruptcy court. And what you might not know, and what your listeners probably don't know, is that bankruptcy is a curious place, and oftentimes what happens in a bankruptcy is that the professionals consume a lot of the money that's actually there, and that's a fancy way of saying the lawyers and the accountants and everybody else kind of build the heck out of it and wind up taking money that would otherwise be available for the creditors. In this case, getting the bankruptcy dismissed was really important for just that reason, and now Ms. Thomas has been able to keep the accounts of the debtor frozen, and we're hopeful that we'll get the bulk of that back from Ms. Skinner.
Very nice. Again, visiting right now with Michael Foster. He's a litigation expert, and we're talking about a case where a gentleman set up I shouldn't say gentleman, that's being awful nice, a guy, a dirty, filthy, rotten scoundrel, set up a fake charity to basically steal some money from a millionaire that was dying and transferred $2 million into this fake charity. Now, this is probably a pretty unusual case, but I'll tell you something that, you know, every once in a while you'll hear about when there's a natural disaster that happens somewhere. Somebody comes in and sets up a fake charity, supposedly to help people there, and you just wonder if any of that ever makes it there. So as people are looking at charities that they're going to give money to, do you have any cautions for them?
I do indeed, and I want to just speak quickly to the issue of charitable fraud generally. And again, this is, perhaps I'm a glass half full kind of guy, but you know, the various attorneys general in the 50 states have been looking at this issue very hard for exactly the reason that you just described. You know, you have Superstorm Sandy, and then there's charities that get set up really just to bilk people. And all of the AGs of the 50 states have, in fact, filed a $187 million lawsuit against 4 fake cancer charities within the last few months. against Cancer Fund of America, among others. And so you're likely to see some press reports about that, and that should give you some confidence that people are out there looking at it. But insofar as how do you protect yourself, well, I think the big point really is researching the charity. Down here in Florida and elsewhere, I know, for example, in New York, the Department of Financial Services or here, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services have information online about charities, and they're required to register and provide some important information, including how much of their contributions actually go to the recipients of the charity. The Federal Trade Commission also provides that information, and you can, of course, reach the Federal Trade Commission at www.ftc.gov. You can also verify the registration usually at the Secretary of State's website. One of the blessings of the information age is that all this information is out there, and you can see who the principals are, whether the charity is properly organized, etc. And then, the most important thing is you can't ever give your personal information out. And I suspect everybody knows or should know that now, but when somebody calls you and asks you for personal information ostensibly for a charitable contribution, you just ought not participate in that.
Definitely. Michael Foster, again, is our guest today, litigation expert. Michael, thank you so much for taking some time to visit with us about this today.
I can't thank you enough for having me on, John, and look out for those fraudsters, okay?
Definitely. And again, if you have a charity that reaches out, don't just go to their website to find out about them, because, of course, they're not going to put red flags on there saying, hey, we're fraud. Do your due diligence. More information can be found at ftc.gov. That's the Federal Trade Commission's website. And again, maybe just searching around and put in their information of this charity. Make sure they're real before you do anything whatsoever. Thanks again for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We appreciate you joining us.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is Thursday. It is November the 12th, and today is World Pneumonia Day. So there you go.
Why would you want to celebrate pneumonia?
Well, I don't think you'd want to celebrate it, but you want to celebrate not getting pneumonia. You don't want to get it. So today's a day, to learn everything you can, stay warm, don't get pneumonia. It is also, this is the part that makes me smile, National Fancy Rat and Mouse Day.
Fancy rat?
Fancy Rat and Mouse Day. I want to celebrate with a fancy rat. Where could I find me a fancy rat? I mean, I want to go hang out with a fancy rat, don't you? Didn't that just sound fun?
Yeah.
So celebrate Fancy Rat and Mouse Day today on this Thursday, the 12th day of November. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
All right, if you're looking for a job, I want you to pay close attention here. I have some job scams. This is from Career Builder. Rachel Zupik, a writer there, says, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. They come across all of these things all the time. They say the age-old adage might be more important now than ever before, especially in today's job market. Number one thing to look out for as far as a job scam, hold on to your cash. No legitimate employer will ever ask you for money. This is a foolproof tip-off that something's not right. There are a number of scams that work this way. You deposit money in an offshore account, and then you do this work at home, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, if you got to pay, it's not a job. So that's not one that you want to do. Steer clear of that. Number two, make money while you sleep. If you see something like that, trust me. Unless, of course, you're going to be a prostitute. Because I suppose you can make money while you sleep there. But for the most part, it's not real, and even that's not legal. Number three, work at home appears in the header. If you see that in the headline of an ad, they're saying be very, very careful. Work from home is not a job title. If it appears in the ad, there's a good chance it's some kind of scam. Scammers rarely can resist including this in the header. It's the bait that they put on their hook to fish for desperate people that they reel in. So be very, very careful. Again, miracles arrive in your inbox. If you see something like that, again, chances are this is not legitimate.
Right.
These are job scams that you want to be careful of. palm trees and mansions and beaches and bikinis. So if you see a scammer, quite often they'll dangle enticing things in front of you. So like when they're doing their video of just how easy it is, they're sitting in this beautiful beachfront place and all of that. I've seen the videos. I'm on the list where they send me all that stuff because I got sucker stamped right up here on my forehead. Number 6, put on your detective hat. Do a little bit of research. You can use the internet to find out almost anything about almost anybody. Make sure you check and see before you dive into something. Again, a couple of tips there from our friends at Career Builder saying be careful of the big job scams going on in 2015.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Take a listen to this. I've heard that not even rich people can consider themselves to be rich. I think it's finally found a test to prove if you're rich or not. If you can afford to eat gold, you're probably pretty well off.
I've seen that. They put gold flakes on stuff, and it's ridiculously expensive.
This is in Dusseldorf, Germany, so it's not any place close by. But in Dusseldorf, gold-covered sausages on the menu. Restaurant owner claims eating gold is healthy. In addition to traditional tomato sauce and curry powder, the sausage comes with a piece of 18-karat gold leaf right on the skin. And the diners at the curry restaurant pay handsomely to get it. How can it be healthy? Well, according to the restaurant manager, it has been done in Greece for hundreds of years. One of our customers always brought in his own gold and asked for it to be for us to cover his food with it. That's how he got the idea. Restaurant manager suggests that ordering the gold-covered sausages for somebody instead of flowers, if you really want to show them how much you love them. Here, eat this gold. I don't think that sounds like a good plan. That's just my opinion, of course, because what do I know about eating gold? Nothing. I once had a Rolo that was wrapped in a gold wrapper. Only once, though.
Did you?
Yeah, I can't afford those.
I would have liked a gold wrapped.
It was, like the individual ones.
Oh, the Rolos. I was thinking of like Little Debbie Swiss cakes. What are those called? Ho-hos.
Not ho-hos.
I want a ho-ho in a gold wrapper.
All right. Coming up, we're talking about phone privilege. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Are you a boss that calls your employees at home? Well, you better stop it. I mean, you better. Take a listen to this. Of all the things we hate about their jobs, people really hate it when the company boss, president, whoever is calling them and bugging them at home. And there's one here, a guy couldn't wait to chew this guy out till the next day. He had to call and bother him at home. And there's a new law now in Britain. Under the Human Rights Act, telephone calls made to employees at home can be held for invasion of privacy. Employer does not have the right to demand an employee's telephone number unless it is specified in the contract. The employee has a duty to be available outside normal working hours. So unless that's in your contract that you have to be available outside of working hours, you're not supposed to give them your phone number in England. The law might also include how the boss looks over your shoulder while you're at the office. That is called unauthorized monitoring. And if the boss monitors telephone calls and emails, all of this stuff, it's being covered by human rights law, and the employers are being sued for doing this stuff. So they're saying that members of the staff are using resources in a personal capacity, and they're just saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And they're going, well, I have my rights. I'm suing you for looking over my shoulder. Now, I don't think that's good, but I do think it's a good idea to not call people and bug them at home. If you need me, I'll be
It must be a much bigger issue there than it is here if they have to make a law about it.
I don't know. Coming up.
I know that my boss bothers me all the time at home.
He does? Wait a minute. That's me. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
The British Army's elite SAS troops are going through a new sort of training that will help them not blow their cover during top secret operations. Believe it or not, they're being trained to not snore. The need for such training comes after a team of soldiers was hiding out in Colombia. They were in the jungle as part of a move to combat cocaine smugglers when one of the soldiers took a little nap and began snoring and blew their cover. The chief ordered the snorer to undergo hypnotism to cure him. Now, other soldiers in the regiment are being trained to not snore by being ordered to alter their sleeping positions. If that fails, Army surgeons may carry out a small throat operation to get them to quit snoring. So if you're a snorer, you can't be on this elite troop anymore unless you go through some sort of snoring therapy. Heidi, you and I could not be on that troop.
We could not.
The other night, you fell asleep before I did, which is rare. Usually, I'll lay down and I'm sleeping in what, like 5 seconds?
Oh yeah.
The other day, you fell asleep before me. And I had restless dogs running all over, so I get our puppies to calm down finally, and you're over there. And I was trying to sleep, and I'm like nudging you, thinking if I accidentally, I don't want to wake you, but I'm like, if I wink, accidentally wake you, and I was laughing so hard, I think I finally did wake you. You quit snoring anyway, and I was like, okay, I got 5 seconds to fall asleep. So there you go. Yeah, you snooze, you lose, and that's how they gave up their private hideout there in the Colombian jungle because the dude was snoring. So. I don't think that I would ever make it onto that team.
No.
Sounds like a chainsaw being
started. We
have
both snored so loud that we've woken ourselves up.
I think our neighbors here are snoring. Pretty sure. Coming up, we got some good news to share. That is on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
This is such a cool story. This is a case of two becoming one, literally. A vicar has been saved from a life-threatening renal failure by his wife, who gave him her kidney. We talked a little bit about this the other day, because I saw the story, and I knew we were going to read it, but we just finally got to it today. Reverend Matthew Baines was told that he would spend the rest of his life on dialysis without a transplant after a kidney disease that he had for 20 years caused him to rapidly deteriorate last Christmas. Well, miraculously, everything changed when his wife discovered that her kidney was a positive match. Checking out your kidneys. You think that would be a good match? The transplant surgery was successful, and it took place a little over a month ago in Birmingham. So now he's got a new kidney, and I'll tell you what, talk about two becoming one. That really is a really neat thing.
That's really cool.
Would you donate a kidney to me if I needed a kidney?
If you'll give me some of your liver. I think I said that was the stipulation yesterday.
Yeah, you were thinking that your liver's fine right now.
Well, I don't know. I've never had it checked.
You do like to drink a little. I think that's kind of what you're talking about there. But, I think that's a really cool thing. So it's awesome that they were such a perfect match that he was able to get a kidney from his wife. So now, not too long ago, we talked about a person who was getting a ride to dialysis in a cab, and the cab driver donated his kidney. Yeah. To the person that was getting the ride. That's really cool, too. Yeah. But this just turns out to be really neat because they're married to each other as well. So, they're husband and wife, and now donor and what do you call the person that gets a donor? Recipient.
Yeah.
Donor and recipient. So, there you go. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you again for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. We appreciate that. I know you got a lot of choices of things you could be listening to right now. It means a lot to us that you're listening to this station right here, right now. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break, only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. You go there, you can get razors for as little as $3 a month. Get all the details, watch a funny video, and you'll be darn glad you did. dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Emmett Ayers found himself in a predicament when he was I was poised with this situation. The 20-year-old's driver's license was taken during a driver's license check by police the week before, so he needed to drive to the station to get it. However, he'd been arrested a couple times before while driving with a license that was suspended. So what will he do? Well, he talked his 4-year-old nephew, 4-year-old nephew, into driving him to the station.
Okay.
Not a good plan.
No, that's not a good idea.
As they pulled in, deputies saw a child was driving the car, and this guy was in the seat. He was driving on... What the heck? As they pulled in, deputies saw a child driving the car by standing in the driver's seat behind the wheel. Ayers was working the gas pedals and the brake from the passenger seat. He was arrested and charged with not only the thing that he was afraid of,
but child endangerment. Holy cow.
Allowing a minor to drive, reckless endangerment, and failing to use child restraints. Hard to believe the guy never lost his license in the first place, huh? Can't believe it.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, what an idiot. Who would do that? I apologize. I couldn't read that for some reason. All right, police in Saudi Arabia have arrested 4 men accused of conning their victims out of almost $2.5 million.
Ooh.
The con men sold their victims a special chemical that they said could grow money. Yeah.
My goodness.
Put this chemical on black paper and watch it turn into cash. They were selling a bottle of this wink, wink special chemical for how much, Heidi?
I have no idea.
$100. $100.
My gosh.
Yeah.
They got that many people to believe that?
2.5 million people. So 250,000
Oh,
bottles.
my goodness.
Or is that 25,000 bottles? I never was too good with math. Either way, it's a lot of idiots that bought that. So Saudi Arabian police arrested him finally and said, hey, no more doing that. Although, should that really be illegal? Because they were selling something that was phony. The police should just get the list of people who were trying to make money and arrest those people too. All right, DeKalb, Illinois, a woman there tried to rob a sub shop using a knife. Her face was recorded on the store's security camera. 3 days later, same woman waltzed into a police department to discuss an unrelated matter, and they were really happy to see her very familiar
we know
face.
you.
Like, hey, have you had a sub lately?
Oh, my goodness.
Wink, wink. All right, I read this story, and I have to share it because I just think this is bizarre. Don't let your dog chew gum.
Yeah, you were talking to me about this yesterday.
The Wall Street Journal ran through a list of troubling statistics about the effects on dogs from widely used artificial sweetener called xylitol. For humans, it makes gum taste like sugar without having any risk of tooth decay, but too much of it can kill your dog. The ASCPA's position control hotline number, they say last year there were more than 3,700 calls related to dogs chewing gum and getting xylitol poisoning. 3,700 people let their dogs chew gum?
Your dog a piece of gum.
There were only 82 cases in 2004. So this was last year, so 2014. We went from 82 people that had dogs that were chewing gum in 2004. 10 years, 1 decade, 3,700 people.
Although I bet it would be really funny to watch a dog chew gum.
Don't do that. It can kill your dog. And that's probably what's going on. There's probably some stupid web video where there's a dog chewing gum and there's people going, oh, that's funny. Let's give some to our dog. Now he seems awfully sick. What's going on here? If you're going to do it, don't get sugar-free gum. Make sure there's no xylitol in the gum.
And don't give them Hubba Bubba. They'll choke.
Ever since the Hubba Bubba incident of
85.
Heidi almost died that day. Never had Hubba Bubba. Now she can't even have a full stick of Trident. I mean, seriously, I'm not even kidding. She'll have half a stick. So I'll have Trident, I'll have like 1.5 sticks because I'm like, yeah, don't put half a stick back in there. Give it over. So anyway, I just thought that was really bizarre that somebody's letting their dog chew gum. I'm not going to even look for it because I bet there is videos on. That's probably what's causing it. Videos online,
probably.
And then there are people out there going, "Hey, let's do this."
You know, I'm going to look for it. I want to see what it looks like.
You can't wait till that computer's available. If she finds something, I'll make her share it on our Facebook page. All right, that's going to do it for our bonus break. It is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.